Africa's largest economy is set to enhance its energy access with upcoming power projects that will boost renewable energy, hydropower, natural gas, and the transmission of power. These projects are either ongoing, upcoming, or in the study and planning stages. Nigeria is currently struggling to improve its power generation capacity of 4,000 to 5,000 megawatts for households and businesses, which has resulted in the common usage of alternative sources like diesel and premium motor spirit for generators. In today's video, we are going to be looking at one of the major energy projects that Nigeria is developing in order to curb its power challenges across the country. The Makurdi Hydropower plant is a large-scale hydropower generation project in Benue State, Nigeria. When completed, it is expected to add about 1,650 megawatts of electricity to the Nigerian grid, which will address the country's energy shortfall and help mitigate flooding. The project is estimated to cost about $3 billion and has been approved by the National Council on Privatization. When the Makurdi power plant is completed, it will not only address the energy shortfall in Nigeria but also mitigate flooding. The Makurdi Hydropower project, or the Makurdi HPP, was originally conceived as part of the plans for electric power system development issued by the then National Electric Power Authority (NEPA) in 1974. The plant dam site is actually located on the Benue River, the primary tributary of the Niger River in Nigeria, about 15 to 20 kilometers upstream of Makurdi, the capital city of Benue State. In the initial visibility study report of the Makurdi Hydropower project, completed by Motor Columbus Engineers Inc. of Baden, Switzerland, and GF Apio and Associate of Nigeria in 1979, the hydropower scheme was to be developed mainly for power generation and flood control, with irrigation, fisheries development, and improved river navigation as auxiliary benefits. The installed capacity was projected at 1,100 megawatts. The reservoir was capable of yearly regulations with a normal pool level of 100 meters and a regulating storage of about 21.0 times 10 cubic meters. The proposed dam had an axial length of 10.3 kilometers and a maximum height of 72 meters above bedrock. The flood discharge structures, consisting of a gate-controlled emergency spillways with crest overflowing orifices and bottom discharge orifices, were to be arranged on the left riverbed, with an overflow net width of 180 meters and a maximum discharge flow of 32,100 cubic meters per second under the PMF. The powerhouse was arranged on the left riverbed, close to the flood discharge structure. 6 Kaplan turbine units, each rated at 183 megawatts, were to be installed in the powerhouse, and the projected average annual energy generation was pegged at 6,000 gigawatts. The estimated implementation cost of the project at the time was $1.276 million as far back as 1979, and the project was adjudged both technically and economically feasible and was recommended for development as early as possible in order to meet increasing national electric power demands. As a result of new techno-economic feasibility studies carried out by IPDC and Sino Hydro between 2015 and 2017, the project's salient characteristics and design parameters arising from updated and refined data necessitated an upward revision of the scope and energy yield of the dam based on total site developable resources assessed at 2,400 megawatts, but constrained by inundation impact of 1,650 megawatts installed capacity and average energy output of 8,762.4 gigawatts per annum. In 2022, the National Council on Privatization had earlier approved a governance framework for the development of this project to a tune of $3 billion in Makurdi, Benue State. The project, according to government sources, was expected to be the largest hydropower project in West Africa. It was also revealed by the government at the time that when completed, the 1,650 megawatt Makurdi hydropower plant would not only address energy shortfall in the country but also mitigate flooding. The government at the time also was committed to addressing the power challenges of the country, which was why major power projects were being looked into at the time. However, the Makurdi power project is long overdue. It can be recalled that in 2009, Interaf Power Development Company Limited, the promoter of the plant, approached the Federal Ministry of Power and the Federal Ministry of Water Resources respectively with the aim of exploring possibilities and modalities of developing the Makurdi hydroelectric power project. Consequently, Makurdi Hydropower Project Company Limited, a joint venture of Interaf Power Development Company Limited and Sino Hydro Corporations Limited, produced an outline business case for for the development of the Makurdi Hydropower Dam and the associated power evacuation facilities on a public-private partnership basis. At the time, the Makurdi Hydropower project, having been submitted to the Bureau of Public Enterprises by the Federal Ministry of Power and Federal Ministry of Water Resources, was screened and found eligible for public-private partnership procurement. Hence, it was listed in the Bureau's work plan as approved by the National Council on Privatization. In furtherance of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission's revalidation, the governance framework of the project was approved for the transaction as well as the constitution, membership and terms of reference of a project steering committee for the transaction in line with the provisions of the ICRC Act 2005 and the National Policy on Public-Private Partnerships 2009. Until now, little or nothing is heard about the project. However, the development of the project will contribute towards a sustainable and enduring solution to the power supply shortages in Nigeria and its citizens in general. A lack of reliable power supply has hampered Nigeria's economy over time. Electricity is a critical catalyst for economic growth that can help people escape poverty and promote long-term urban and industrial development. Electricity production significantly impacts commercial output. In Nigeria, the electricity generated, transmitted and distributed is visibly lesser than the output needed to meet industrial and basic household needs. Industries and households are highly dependent on generating their electricity through power plants and generator appliances, despite the country's abundant energy resources. The power supply has remained a persistent problem for several decades. The government and other stakeholders have attempted to secure an adequate power supply in Nigeria. Unfortunately, much time, effort and financial resources have been invested without significant improvement. Hydropower and thermal energy are the primary sources of electricity in Nigeria. Nigeria has much hydropower potential because it is endowed naturally with many river systems. The most significant hydropower sources in Nigeria are Kenji and Jeba dams. Hydropower remains the world's most important source of renewable electricity production and a key player in reducing the amount of gaseous carbon in the power system and enhancing system stability. Nigeria has a vast treasure trove of renewable energy sources, yet these resources remain largely untapped. The potential of hydropower energy generation in Nigeria is massive. Hydropower's total exploitable potential is estimated to be over 14,120 megawatts. Nigeria's hydropower has an installed capacity of 2,062 megawatts, with an approximately 85% of that capacity yet to be built. If the Makurdi hydroelectric power dam eventually comes on stream, it is important to note that it will be a major game changer as it is going to add to the generating capacity as well as boost the electricity supply across the country. Guys, do well to drop your honest comment. Tell us what you think about this project. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Thank you.